I'm Trek with 2Ks.
Alrighty. Hey, what's going on to the pothead? I appreciate. So as you see what the title says, I'm just up here trying to keep up with the algos because yesterday I was being lazy. Is a short answer. Is definitely the short answer of it. I was being lazy. And so damn. Because of that, well, let me step back one. Hola, hola, buenas noches, buenas tardes, GnGs. My name is Trek with 2Ks, and this is Trek with 2Ks Live. Usually it is done on a Monday evening, ideally around 8 o'clock East Coast time. But for those of you who've been following for a while, I be slacking and I be on here like 9:30. I think one time I did like 10 o'clock or something, and this one's like just call it a late night. But the whole point, as I was saying, is that I'm just over here trying to keep up with the algos. Um sorry, and then multitasking. And then I just realized that I didn't have my power cord with me. So like I gotta be kind of quick with this one. And y'all know I be long-winded this shit on stuff, man. But if you don't know, the basic idea is I have a channel called Trek with 2Ks, and I have more people over here. So I have more exposure on the gentleman crypto side and been doing this. I took a break for damn near a year, but I've been doing this like over 3 now, or like 2.5 or something. And the show's kind of moved around in different directions and stuff, but it still keeps to the same basic things of it's no price talk. I'm not over here telling you what to put your energy, effort, and stuff in when it comes to the crypto thing. I'm always doing your due diligence. I'm always promoting, cross-referencing the shit that I say. If it don't make sense to you, then hey, don't mess with it. Like that's all it simply boils down to. I don't know your pockets. I'm not a CA. I'm not a lawyer. I'm not a financial advisor. I'm just some guy on the internet who's now doing a faceless channel. So hey, you know. But like I said, this episode is because yesterday I was hanging out with my coworkers. We were doing shrimps and crabs, and so yeah, smoking cigars afterwards. And I was just like, yeah, I'm not gonna make it. And if I had to try to come on last night after I finished doing all of that, it was just gonna be garbage. It was just gonna be garbage. So I said, you know what? I'm a I'm gonna do it today because things didn't work out the way I thought they would, and so I had the time, and I said, "All right, let me do this." What's cracking, man? Damn, I don't know what it is about when I get on here. That's when stuff want to start like having the. But anywho, there's like a couple different things. I got a couple different things to jump in, and like I said, I got to be quick about it because I forgot my damn at work. So I'm not certain. Well, I relatively know how much thing I got left, and plus I was, maneuvering around trying to find stuff. And hey, shout outs to Claude because this is the image it came up with based on an actual photo. And I said vivid colors and give me a background scene of snow crash. And if you've read the book Snow Crash, this kind of makes sense. For those of you who are into cyberpunk stuff. So yeah, Satoshi on sale, baby. Hey, damn. It is what it is. I'm gonna appreciate it for what it is, but I'm not telling anybody to follow me. Just remember, do what you do, and if you're in this American jurisdiction, and one of the, a matter of fact, let me get to this image right now. Now that I actually, where are you at? Is this the one? Nope, that's not the one. Where are you? Oh, there we are. This one. And I feel like this is so for the moment. Here we go. I feel like very appropriate for the moment. Considering that I be saying this like damn near every episode. Is it gonna do it? What are we doing? There we go. So, who remembers this phase of Bitcoin? Right? It was all about we're not gonna have to worry about taxes anymore. We're gonna be able to do what we do. That's funny. That's funny. So this thread, though, I will say Jet Set does an interesting thread. The only thing that kind of gets me about this thread in regards to how he or this person, I don't know if it's a group or individual, or whatever, um, excuse me, is how they break down like the what you can do to reduce and legally reduce how you pay on your like crypto taxes. Bitcoin in particular is the focus of this thread. If you find the Twitter thing, you can, go through it. The one critique I will say about this is this is not your average person who got like maybe 5K worth of BTC. Do your due diligence on this and to understand. Oh, this is what I'm trying to do. Hold on. Uh, uh, Here we go. Makes sense when you have a certain level. All right, it's not going to do what I needed to do. International, which is like, all right, bet I'm going to go jump over into this jurisdiction and it's going to be friendlier than where I'm currently at. And he talks about doing stuff that involves setting up you know what, y'all can read through it, but you've also seen this kind of example of financial tax shelters, legal financial tax shelters in 101 YouTube videos and other things like that, right? Point being is I thought it was interesting, but my one critique is necessarily see this as something for the regular average like minnow person in the space. Personally, my take on it, you could disagree with it, but to that point, as I was saying about the Texas thing of like, I be saying it because it's like, hey, we still in this jurisdiction and look at just how things have been going over the last 7 months in the flip-floppingness of how this administration has like redefined. I was saying I posted this on Twitter, I think either yesterday, it might have been yesterday, but I posted it on Twitter to somebody that I follow about like I knew it was gonna be chaotic, but I didn't think we was gonna have this level of redefining um business norms, international relation norms, geopolitical norms. Like like this administration is turning everything upside down in regards to what we understand as like, oh, well, this is how it's done in regards to the stuff here local within the US and then things internationally and overseas. Like just throw all of it out the window. Sorry, I had to wet the whistle. But the taxes thing again, like I said, like if you the man, it's not a fair game. It's not a fair game. And my CPA guy, CJ, and I'm not saying this to y'all to be like, oh, you got to use CJ. I'm just saying my CPA guy, CJ, the smart guy, he out here making these tours now. He making it international. Shout outs to that guy. If you don't got the bank, don't try to play it fast and loose. If you how do I say this? The bank and the actual follow through and like wherewithal on it. Because if you're not on your P's and Q's, at some point you'll mess up. And with the way everything is getting integrated right now, like they'll definitely come back on you. Anywho, what was the other one that apparently happened? So Dave Collins spoke with and he basically was like, yeah, Bitcoin is gonna get messed up. And he doesn't give the exact scenario, but he does make the point of like, if we look at the track record of the US government, as well as just governments in general, but right now it just looks like the forefront is the US government. Eventually this will be taken over by private sector players, which we kind of, depending on what you're paying attention to, or where you're getting your information from, the Wall Street folks already got their hands in it, and then the policies that are coming out are geared more in their favor. Also, let me throw this one out there. So shout out, and God, what is Maddie's name? He's from Quantum Coin, I think, but he used to work for like eToro. So what, Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxies. Sorry, I'm just gonna post it up there so everybody else can read it. So I did the pre-recorded panels for the Black Blockchain Summit that is going to be next month in September, and I had the opportunity to share the screen with Rick Dudley. I've been following him for a minute. I don't necessarily go through all of his stuff, but he is somebody I follow on Twitter. And I find that his insights in the space as a coder, as an entrepreneur, as a business owner, as somebody who's been around this thing for a while, and he plays in the BTC space as well as in the Ethereum space. And the topic that we were on, it was what is ownership, or like the importance of ownership within crypto and stuff. And like my first take, and oh God, if you watch this, y'all, I'm gonna tell you right now, I end up being a negative Nancy like halfway through it. Shout outs to Joanne. God, I can't remember her last name right now, but she's a lawyer. Akeem, I don't remember what his last name is at the moment, neither. He was a new face to me. And Maddie's from Quantum Coin, I believe. So I was familiar with Maddie because of eToro. Again, I follow Rick Dudley. Been following him for a minute now. And of the group of people, I'm the only one not in the business aspect of this. But as I said, I'm in this unk status right now, and I've seen this space like mature, grow, and evolve, and the growing pains have been really interesting to say the least. But where am I going with this real quick? So let me wrap up this thing with the Tucker Carlson and Dave column. Dave basically is like, hey, the government is going to collude with the private sector to take things over, and they're going to run the price up. And if y'all remember, I was covering the thing that Mark Moss was talking about, and how it's going to be that collaboration between the Treasury Department, and how like the real estate thing is going to play into it, and Bitcoin is supposed to absorb X amount of the inflation and the dollar, and it goes deep. And I tend to agree with what Column is saying. There's definitely going to be collusion between the traditional TradFi financial folks and just like the folks who were in those echelons and those conversations that I will never be a part of, right? As well as just if you look at what the administration is doing, like it's a money grab on the Trump side for all of the stuff that they're doing related to crypto. Between the back in the day, not back in the day, but like what was that? Beginning of COVID, middle of COVID, the trade washing Ivanka was doing with her NFT thing, the garbage thing that Trump had pushed out, like it's a money grab and it's at the expense of the everyday average Joe person. And y'all are gonna see down the pike how this stuff is gonna play into pensions. Because again, we already have the Coinbase is on the S&P 500. Treasury just said that it is okay for stablecoin. Well, stablecoins aren't counting as what's the thing again? I forgot what they're not counting as, but now pretty much if you apply to create a stablecoin, you will go through certain regulatory processes of documentation and paperwork, and then you start up a stable coin, and then you peg it to quote the USD or whatever other financial instrument that they agree would count on. But my prediction is at some point we're gonna go from a 1-to-1 to where it's like, oh well, maybe you could just have like a seven, like 3/4 of it, then you can have 50% of it. That's just my thought process because traditional banking institutions can have 0% backing the USD that they put in circulation or have within their on their ledger. That happened in 2020. For those of you who are wondering, so yeah, I'm and let me say in terms of it isn't that I don't think the technology doesn't work and do what it's supposed to do. It 100% does. But in my mind, there aren't enough people who are looking to actually have the intention of following what Bitcoin was supposed to be about. Those ideals of the privacy, the self-control, the agency. That's not what it is right now. And so with that, the folks who are more looking at this short-term thing of like, well, how do we extract the most capital out of this new fandangle thing, right? And then all the risk ends up being pushed out to the public average Joe person. We see the same play time and time again, no matter what park we go to, what sandbox we're in, what new technology thing, we go back to the same thing of greedy folks be greedy at the expense of they want all of the reward without any of the risk, and they will push the risk off on the average Joe person when it is least opportune for the average Joe person, most opportune for them. That's literally what we see as a track record. And now to jump into this conversation as far as the panel, my thing was my first part of the topic was, well, what part of the value chain are you in when we talk about having ownership? You know, in this particular space, well, the ownership thing runs kind of different with how crypto as a technology stack works, right? And so it's like, are you trying to be the person who owns the miners? Are you trying to be the person selling the miners, which is basically selling the picks, the shovels and the picks and the axe, right? Um, Following the same thing of like the whole back in the day gold rush, right? Are you trying to be just a silent partner? Are you trying to be somebody who is doing the coding side of it, as far as like, you know, the core devs for the Bitcoin code? Are you trying to be owner, as far as someone who owns ATMs that provides the service to dispense this new digital asset into the public. Like, where are you trying to be in this thing? Most folks don't know, right? But Rick made, I think, a more poignant point, and I'm also tag in Reggie Middleton on this particular point. So his thing it's about, do you have claim? Like, what is ownership? You having claim to something. Reggie made this point a while ago about how, yeah, you can have claim on it, right? But can you fight to protect your claim? Which means you got to have the legal money, you got to have the big bank to be able to go through the legal process, because some of the folks you could be fighting, it might not be their money directly, but they'll just be the face to dwindle you down and run your pockets. Business is a the business world is an interesting place. Point being is, Reggie has made that point a while ago about, it's one thing to have the patent, it's one thing to have like a claim on thing, but can you defend it in court? Which builds on what Rick Dudley was talking about. And like, for what I was saying, which was like, all right, what part of the value chain do you want to be in? And then the other part of like, and I've said it on here a number of times, I don't believe that majority of the folks who are in this actually want to have agency and sovereignty over their money. And I said the same thing on the panel. And then by the end of it, I was like, listen, not everybody deserves to be an owner. Like, I ain't gonna say I crashed out, but like, I definitely went opposite of what everybody else was saying. And you can take that in regards to, not everybody deserves to be an owner, as in like, is it that you deserve to have ownership in the industry, in the business? Arguably, that's on the side of like, who's looking at you and questioning why you own stuff. If you happen to own the thing, all right, cool. But like, are you owning it and like being this is gonna sound kind of funky, like moral and ethical and legal about it? Because like, you remember the guy who had the patent on was it the AIDS drug? He was the one who bought the Wu-Tang the Wu-Tang Clan like gold album or something. Like, he was being a total prick about how he priced the drug thing that he had, right? So like, that question of like, where are you in the ownership thing? Do I think that people should have agency over their their funds and stuff? Yeah, because like, literally that goes into the whole thing of how do you protect your economics, your I don't want to say financial wealth, but ability to function within that. What are you saying? With regards to BT feeling, it's so long since accepted that I'm all the fuck. Okay. If it fails, say it on track. I mean, hey, I'm, as they once said, yes, I'm bringing up the name. I'm pro freedom technologies, right? And I'm a definitely run with that line because I think it's a very valid and relevant line. I think that in part, human nature or society, like, we always going to try to find these ways to like, you know, keep the sovereignty, keep the self-agency, keep a level of independence. But man, being in this world and how convenient things can be. Woo! And that was another point that I made on the panel, as far as like, excuse me, in this modern world, the convenience factor is just too high. Like, the do I want to? And Rick made a great point. Like, he owns his servers. He goes out to where they're located. He does the whole code review thing. And he made the point of like, I do this, but I wouldn't recommend it to other people. And I double down on the like, yo, not everyone wants to deal with the everyday, mundane, laborious and monotonous minutiae of what it is entailed to actually um like have full agency, have full positive control of something. Even like look at the whole thing, even with like what was that during COVID? How like there was a big spike in like homesteaders, right? And there's a big spike in the tiny van thing. Um, a number of those van life folks, they have their own houses now, or they had their own houses before and they went back to the houses, right? The homesteading thing, a number of places where people was just popping up. Oh, I'm gonna be a homesteader. It's cool for the first year, 2 years. You might you really pressing it if you make 3 to 5 years. Not many of the folks make it past 10 years. Well, make it past 5 years into the 10-year thing. Why? Because that whole thing of independence, self-agency it's work. It's not convenient. It's not as easy as we would like in this modern day world. And it's different aspects of the independence and self-agency. This part with the finances, like it's a part of it. And no disrespect to the lawyer folks, but like the thing of like you want to invest in something, you got swindled, you're mad that you got swindled, but you want to defer responsibility on you getting swindled to somebody else. Now you have to be made whole because you swindled because you didn't do your due diligence. Like that's the part of self-agency. That's the part of the sovereignty part where like, yo, if you lost it because you got swindled, because you wasn't on your your P's and Q's, like that's a you thing. But that's not how our financial environment works. Someone has to be held accountable. It may not be the right person that's being held accountable. You may not be made whole and full, especially if you're at the lower part of the value chain where you're not the high investor in a Bank of America or a Chase Manhattan. Like literally, so something that's interesting that a lot of folks don't pay attention to. During the Obama administration, they made it where what was it? If like basically at this point, well, not most people, but it is understood by a number of folks who pay attention to the FDIC, which is like the thing that's supposed to insure bank accounts up to 250,000 or 200,000. So if you are let's say a small stake person within that bank, guess what? You're not going to be a top priority person to be made whole. Like it's the high investors, then it's the creditors, then you're somewhere down on the mix, and there's no guarantee you're going to get an equal of what you put in. You might get some other kind of credit thing. They might not give you actual like, oh well, you had $1,000 in here. Here's $1,000 back. It's like, well, you had $1,000. Here's like $300, and then like we have an IOU option. That was during the Obama administration, but nobody talks about that. Yeah, but nonetheless, it's gonna the Black Blockchain Summit thing. It was in September for when all of that's gonna play out. And as I've said, if you are in Howard, or sorry, if you are in DC, um, it is. I'm sorry, I'm looking at my calendar right now so that I'm not giving you the wrong date. It is the 26th and the 27th down at Howard University. Definitely check out the website and all that stuff. I'm gonna be down there. A couple other people that are gonna be down there. Smart folks. It's definitely smart folks in the house. And yeah, man, like it's and it's year 8. Like when that was said, I think Rick said it, or it might have been Maddie that said it, but I was just like, wow, or it might have been Akeem that said it, but it didn't even click to me because I was like, yo, like I've been here from like year 1, and I think it was like aside from COVID, I think it was like 1 year that I hadn't gone, but been here since like year 1, man, and it's crazy to see that it's still here, and I meet different people every year. Um, All right, enough on that. I'm trying to find this other joint that I wanted to bring up. No, that was that one. Like I said like find me on the Twitter. Look at the bookmark joints that I got, and you can follow through on these different things. No, it wasn't that one. Oh, it was this one actually. So UAE apparently, where you go? So Wu Blockchain, I told y'all about them. I've been following them for a minute. They've definitely been expanding out in the topics that they've been looking to cover. But according to Arkham, the UAE government holds approximately 6,300 BTC, worth over 700 million through Citadel mining, which I'm assuming is separate than Citadel, which is connected with Andreessen Horowitz. Um, I'm assuming it's a separate entity, but nonetheless, a public mining company that it controls. It makes the UAE, the fourth largest government Bitcoin holder, with reserves originating from mining operations jointly. Um, Developed with Phoenix Group rather than from law enforcement, which but the U.S. does heavy. Um, the comments was kind of interesting because like some of the folks were talking about like how it's them showing a different way of doing sovereignty as far as having it that the government is the benefactor of the mining of Bitcoin. So interestingly enough, right? What I wonder now that I thought about this is how much of this, or is there any of this Bitcoin that's touching exchanges? Are they just straight cold storage in it? Like we make it, boom, we just throwing it inside cold storage someplace, and that's it. When everything start, it'd be crazy. Imagine if it, or like, let's say in like 2028, it come out like Chinese government got like um like 10,000 BTC because they've been mining, like 20,000 BTC because they've been mining for like the last like 8 years or something. That would have me cracking up, honestly. That would really crack me up. But nonetheless, I do wonder if they're just cold storaging this, or are they using it as collateral in something? Hey, UAE did do a bilateral agreement deal with China, but that was over like the what's the thing? The digital yuan. So I don't know. We'll see how this plays out over time. That's the bottom line, right? Okay, there we go. No, come back. I'm running the clock down, folks. This is something else that had caught my attention about Chairman Paul Atkins. Explains the idea it would benefit investors. Check it out. Basically, it's like a super app. This, if I understood this little clip that was being played, is basically like saying, let's get a WeChat, but it's going to be a government thing. Yes, the Obama administration was wild. So, yeah, again, go check out the Twitter account. You can see the bookmark stuff, and go from there. The commercial, pretty much, it's a commercial by Jack Miller. Let's see how. Oh, this is who I want to shout out to. Shout outs to Charlene Federico. She used to work. I forgot what federal agency she used to work for, but I think it was the Treasury, or it might have been the Fed. Now she fully making her runs out there on the Bitcoin side of things, but she was basically making a point on how somebody reached out to her and then tried to charge her 1,200. Now, Was it a scam? Not totally sure. But basically, they was trying to charge her to come onto their platform. My response was, once this price thing rebounds, plus the shenanigans that's going on with the administration, it's gonna get worse. It's gonna get worse. Like, folks are definitely gonna get bamboozled into paying to talk into speakers and experts and people who've been in the space for a minute or like know a little something. They're gonna get bamboozled and hit over the head on the price stuff to go talk. And then the folks who like know stuff or like are at least in the right connection, they're on the flip side. They're gonna be able to ask for more money to go out and talk. Because now you can't be like, oh well, I don't have $1,000. Like, whoa. How much Bitcoin did you have? Like, cash some of that out. It's above whatever number now. So like, you got that. It's gonna be interesting to see, man. But shout outs to her. She had a book too. She wrote like a children's book. I can't remember the name of what the children's book is, but yeah, she's another person that shows up at the Black Blockchain Summit too. And she knows a fair amount of stuff on the government side, because I want to say it was the Treasury, but it might have been the Federal Reserve. I could be wrong. I could be off. Oh, something else I want to throw out there. I'm not 100% certain on how I'm going to do this just yet, but I think I'm going to try and push on this thing of bringing back Trekking Cryptos to Connect in regards to talking with folks. Did you say drone? Wait, Obama. Hey, don't forget, Obama technically unalived 2 American citizens using those things. That happened during Obama administration. Nobody likes to talk about that one either. But anywho, yeah, I think I'm gonna work on bringing that back up, but I might switch how I do that on the end of. I'll probably take those kind of conversation interview things and push them on my actual channel first, and then bring them over here. So eventually they will get here, but I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. Because she'd be somebody that I'd definitely be interested in talking to for how her perspective, because she's coming from the government side, as well as Rick Dudley too, because he's been around for a while and he's seen how the space has evolved from the business side as an entrepreneur, as well as from the technology side because he's a coder. So yeah. Um, what is the other? Did I do that twice? I hope not. All right, that's all I had. I swore I had more stuff. Yeah, I swore I had more stuff, but apparently I did not. But nonetheless, that's what I do got for this evening. I was out here just trying to keep up with the algos and show a level of consistency. Because YouTube does penalize you as a content side person. Still trying to figure out which way I'm gonna go with stuff as I push forward. I appreciate the 1 thumbs up person on the YouTube side. If you're on the Twitter side, hey, can you like share, repost, give a thumbs up or heart it, whatever. Twitch, I have the Twitch thing going, but I don't necessarily pay attention to it. That's on me, but part of the world living in Dubai. Listen, I got a homeboy already making that move now. He already bought the real estate. It's a whole thing going on out in Dubai. It's a whole movement going on out in Dubai. But yeah, it's a Tuesday. We made it past Monday. Hopefully y'all had a productive day. Hopefully the weekend was good. And I'm gonna close it out on that because my laptop's gonna die soon enough. Because I think I'm like around 10%. But anywho, y'all, I am Trek with 2Ks, and as I say, from one human to the next. Oh, before I do that, I still gotta plug this event there, and yeah, hopefully I get to see some of y'all lovely folks, and we could talk, chop it up. Don't ask me for any crypto price talk advice because we already know how that go. But yeah, September 26th, 27th, Black Blockchain Summit at Howard University. I'm going to be there with a bunch of other crypto people. And it's year 8. That's wild to me when I think about that. It's year 8. But anywho, as I said, as I usually do say, um, from one human to the next, the best thing that I can wish for y'all is to be in a safe place, in a safe space, and a good company. And yeah, tomorrow makes it halfway through the week, so hump day it is, right? And come next week, charge your batteries and do it again the following week. That's what it is right now. But y'all, keep y'all heads up out there. I definitely know it is kind of it's some struggles, and we not even at the peak point of it. We going in to the incline. We not even at the peak point. But anywho, y'all, have a good one until next Monday when I do this correctly. Y'all have a good one. Peace. I'm Trek with 2Ks.